Welcome back, everyone. We are back here at the tree we had to drop a couple of videos back due to the Amarilla virus or oak tree virus. And today I have brought the new workbench down and the new portable chainsaw mill. And I am going to see if I can actually get some material out of this. So let's get started. I hope you enjoy the video. This should be fun. I hope it works. Thanks for watching. Now I could mill this down on the ground, but I want to get it up to where it's a little more comfortable. That way, specifically for my first time using this mill, I'll kind of see what's going on and keep from having to be down on the ground too much too. I want you to look at that. Perfect. The first thing we're going to do is trim this guy up to size, and it looks to me like I'm going to be able to get a 12-footer out of it. I did use my cedar log and these nylon straps in order to secure the log to the bench so we can't roll backwards, and I got some wedges up here in the front. So that made it for a real stable working surface. Now what I want to do is figure out, I do not want none of this bark wood because that's not going to make good material. It's simply going to go ahead and continue decaying. So I want to try to get into the heart of this tree and see exactly what I'm going to have here. And if I set right in here, then we're going to be able to at least get some 2x4s out of this. All right? So that's where we're going to start. Now I'm new to this, and if this works, I do not mind getting something else. That if I have to have a bigger saw or something like that, I don't mind to do so, as long as it's going to be easy. And I have several of these trees that needs to be cut down, so I'm not too concerned with that. I'm not going to waste the trees. Either firewood or material will work. All right. And then looking down the log there, that thing is reasonably straight. So let's start there, and then we'll see how we level up on the other end. I may have to drop this down just a little bit more. I'm a little bit larger on this end than I am on that one. But if it trims out flat, then we'll just simply section this thing out and get what we can get out of it. Now I have made my guide out of plywood. I figured it would be a little more rigid for holding material so it don't split these ends off. We're going to set that right down on the line. I did put me a center line on that. And that should center us up to the other end as well. Stay back out of the way so you guys can see as well. And before I actually start milling this, I will check and measure this out and make sure that I am in the center. Okay, I gotta have a bit. All that did is catch that bark wood. That should hold though. Now it's not taking much for your top rails. It's just simply holding the weight of your chainsaw and your mill. And we want to try to keep this as flush and even down through there for our first cut. And then after that, we're going to remove this and just simply use the log itself for our material. We want this first cut to be as straight and flat as possible. Let's go to the other end and get that guy set up. This guy right here had a pretty good crown in it. I think the weight of our saw should push that down enough that we're just going to ride right along the top of it and get this first one cut. And then if we need to, our second cut we can adjust after we get some of this bark wood out of our way. Let's set the mill up and see how it's going to do. I have already made a modification to my rails here. I had to trim that out because this saw is just fitting around this log. This is going to be close, but here we go. It's odd starting a chainsaw in this position as well. And you can see I had to trim my plywood off in order to get this thing started. Sounds like everything is running good. I'm going to put some ear protection on and we're going to run this through the log here. So far so good, guys. That was a lot of fun. That actually, I've been thinking and wanting one of these for a long time, and that was a lot of fun. And now that I know what I have to have here, I will make another one of these, and that will be a lot easier the next time. What it was, with these ears stuck out, the guide on the mill didn't have enough room to clear it. So I had to trim those back in order to get onto the rails here. Boy, this oak is some good wood, you know it? If nothing else, guys, we got a heck of a park bench. It will not go to waste. I will cut every bit of that up for firewood. Look at that. Wow, I gotta say, that's pretty smooth. Impressive. We're just about a foot away from our first plank off of this. Boy, that wood looks great. I'm telling you, that's just fun. Whoop. See what we got here. Well, that wood's heavy now. Wow. That it was definitely worth my time. And I know a lot of you guys watching has already had one of these and used it, so leave it in the comments. Tell us what you've learned. I learned real quick on the wedge behind the saw that if I brought it up too much, it wanted to raise my rails up. So having the right thickness of exactly the same thickness as the chainsaw bar and chain really made that nice. And now that we've got that first cut out of the way, I will have to take and cut this bark off. I'm going to trim this out with a chainsaw so the mill can slide down through the sides of it easier. Like I said, we are at the limit for the 18-inch saw in order to get the guide, the chainsaw mill on there, so they don't want to fit all the way around this. So I'm definitely going to have to get rid of this bark out here in order to continue milling. Now, I can flip this over and take off the top side of it just as easy as I did this, and that would cure that, and then I'd have me a nice, probably at least a 6x6 and some more boards. And an oak 6x6, wow. Now I'm going to show you this level. There is no daylight underneath this, and other than a few chain marks where I had stopped, I mean, guys, that looks great, and it's level. Of course, the workbench has a lot to do with that. So we had a 3-win day today. The mule pulling this log up onto the workbench, that was perfect. The workbench itself, and I knew that was going to be a really heavy bench for these logs. And again, this is probably the top side as to where I want to mill at. The third win was the chainsaw mill itself. This really was fun to do. And now that the rail is gone, we've dropped down 3.5 inches, and I could leave this set right here where I am at and run that down to the edge of the bark and just absolutely take it off right here. But you can see we are just getting in here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This has been a lot of fun. And now that I've used this once, I think it's going to get easier. And I'll tell you what, I don't think it could get more enjoyable though. And knowing that we have brought this down off of our property, and again, it was either going to be firewood or now turn it into something we can actually use. Again, this bark side of this thing, I'm going to cut that up, and that'll make a nice winter's firewood. Thanks for watching. If you own one of these and you have some nice tricks to share, leave it in the comments for us. I'll see you on the next one.